If reality cannot die, what exactly are we memorializing? Every year, millions of people participate in Memorial Day rituals without ever stopping to question the assumptions underneath them. Paper flags move quietly in the wind beside rows of white gravestones. Flowers are placed into the earth. Photographs are posted online. Families gather in folding chairs beneath the sun, while barbecue smoke rises into the same sky, hanging over military cemeteries. Children laugh. Silence is observed. Beer coolers open. Hands cover hearts during the national anthem. And almost nobody asks the deeper question: what exactly is being memorialized? Not politically, not emotionally, metaphysically. Because Memorial Day is far more than a holiday. It is one of the clearest windows into the ego's entire operating system in one weekend. Mourn death, celebrate sacrifice, honor bodies, wave flags, cook burgers, travel highways, visit graves, shop sales, post patriotic gratitude online, fear questioning any of it. The emotional contradiction itself is astonishing. A holiday dedicated to mourning somehow became the unofficial beginning of summer. Why? Because the ego cannot stare directly at death for very long without distraction. It oscillates constantly. Grief and entertainment, sadness and consumption, ceremony and escape, remembrance and avoidance. And buried underneath all of it is one unquestioned assumption: the body is who you are. Without that assumption, Memorial Day collapses psychologically. Because if identity is not the body, then what exactly died? And if reality cannot die, then what exactly are we memorializing? That question sounds offensive only because the world has become emotionally attached to form. But merely looking at a belief is not an attack. It is honesty. Forgiveness, as A Course in Miracles says, merely looks and waits and judges not. That is all this article is doing. Looking, waiting, judging nothing. Simply bringing hidden assumptions into the light. And one of the biggest assumptions hidden inside Memorial Day is the idea that sacrifice is holy. Listen carefully to the language surrounding the holiday. They gave their lives, the ultimate sacrifice, died for freedom, fallen heroes. But what does eternal life know about sacrifice? What does God sacrifice? What does infinity lose? The entire emotional structure only works if separation is true. Nations must be real. Enemies must be real. Threats must be real. Bodies must be real. Death must be real. Otherwise, the emotional framework surrounding war begins to wobble. That does not dishonor soldiers. It examines the belief system that continuously produces graves and then teaches future generations to ritualize them. And notice something else. Memorial Day emerged directly after the Civil War, one of the bloodiest events in American history. An estimated 620,000 to 750,000 people died. The death toll exceeded every other American war combined up to Vietnam. Think about what that means psychologically. Entire towns shattered, families destroyed, bodies everywhere. The collective mind needed meaning, because the ego cannot tolerate meaningless suffering. It must convert pain into narrative. So sacrifice became sacred, death became honorable, grief became ritualized, and cemeteries became symbolic temples of remembrance. Originally, the holiday was called Decoration Day.
Even that name quietly reveals the entire mechanism. The bodies are gone, yet the markers remain. Polished, decorated, maintained, visited every year. Why? Because memories sustains identity. The ego survives through memorialization. That is why the world builds statues, monuments, tombs, museums, memorial walls, and historical markers. They stabilize the dream. They say, this happened, this mattered, this loss was real. This sacrifice must never be forgotten. But A Course in Miracles introduces a completely different possibility. What if reality cannot be threatened? That single line destabilizes almost every assumption underneath Memorial Day. Because if reality cannot be threatened, then what exactly needed protection? And if God did not create death, then what exactly is being honored? The world says remembrance means remembering bodies, wars, suffering, sacrifice, and national identity. The Course uses remembrance completely differently. The remembrance of God. The remembrance of truth.
The remembrance that separation never actually occurred. One form of remembrance reinforces the dream. The other awakens from it. And perhaps that is why questioning Memorial Day feels emotionally dangerous to so many people. Because it is not merely a holiday, it is an identity structure. A collective agreement about life, death, sacrifice, patriotism, suffering, and meaning. To question the structure feels to the ego like questioning reality itself. But truth does not fear examination. Only illusions do. And perhaps the deepest question underneath Memorial Day is not whether soldiers were brave, moral, or honorable. Perhaps the deeper question is this: what must the mind believe about itself for killing to ever seem meaningful in the first place? That is the real doorway. Not politics, not patriotism. Identity. Because every war begins with the same assumption. There are separate interests, separate bodies, separate nations, separate selves. And once separation is believed, sacrifice becomes inevitable. That is why Memorial Day reveals the ego's operating system so clearly. The entire holiday rests upon the belief that bodies are valuable enough to die for, kill for, protect, memorialize, and mourn. Yet the truth, if it is eternal, cannot enter a grave. And what is eternal does not require monuments to remember itself.